Indoor Matters with Dammian and Sarrah.
Good day, everyone. This is Dammian, and with just a few more days before Christmas, I would like to welcome you to our third episode here in Indoor Matters, where we take a deeper look into the relationship of oxidative stress and our indoor air quality. Last episode, we opened the topic of oxidative stress and how it can affect us through the many aspects of our indoor environment. But this time we focus on the air we breathe. Joining us, of course, is our resident IEQ expert, Sarrah.
Hey everyone! Thank you, Damien. It's nice to be here again.
Happy cool December day to you, Sarrah.
Oh, yes. It is cool and kind of rainy, isn't it?
It actually rained over some parts of the UAE last weekend.
Did it? We never had rain in my part, but it was cloudy. So it was a movies and hot cocoa weekend for me.
Ah, yes, it was actually quite a nice drizzle we had in Dubai Marina. But before we start, I would like to thank our sponsor, Sani Service, the leading indoor environmental health quality management company.
They're amazing. They have been doing research, development, and innovation in the indoor environmental industry since, get this, 2009.
Indeed. They are trailblazers in the IEQ industry, and we are very glad to be sponsored by Sani Service here in this podcast. Okay, so let's start our very informative discussion we have for our listeners today.
All right, let's do it.
And I guess a good place to start our conversation is by doing a recap of our topic in the last episode, and that is oxidative stress. You know, here in the UAE, we spend a lot of time inside.
Yeah.
It's hot. We all know that.
It's true.
But what we may not think about is that the air inside can actually be worse than the air outside sometimes.
Absolutely.
And so indoor air quality, it's really something we need to pay attention to.
Yeah,
so
sure.
How does that tie into oxidative stress?
Well, oxidative stress is basically an imbalance in your body.
Oh, okay.
You know, you're constantly being bombarded by free radicals.
Right.
Whether it be, from pollution, whether it be from, the food we eat.
Yeah.
Just the natural processes in our body.
Yeah.
And our body produces antioxidants to fight against that.
Okay.
And so as long as there's a balance, everything's okay.
Gotcha.
But when we're exposed to a high amount of, pollutants in the air, that sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
that's when that balance gets out of whack.
Okay.
And then we start to see the negative effects of oxidative stress.
So oxidative stress basically just means that our body is taking damage from these different things.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it can be linked to, a whole slew of negative health effects.
Oh, yeah.
Heart disease, cancer,
Premature aging.
inflammation.
All sorts of things.
Absolutely.
And this can happen just from breathing the air.
Well, a lot of the things in the air that we breathe,
Right.
the pollution,
Yeah.
all of that contributes to oxidative stress.
So it's really important that we pay attention to what's in the air that we're breathing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that are commonly in the air here in the UAE.
Sure.
What are some things we should be looking out for?
Well, of course, we've got, dust.
Oh, yeah.
We live in a desert,
Yeah.
sand,
Lots of sand.
mold,
Yeah.
especially with the humidity.
Right.
We've got VOCs,
Okay.
which are volatile organic compounds,
Okay.
things like formaldehyde,
Mm-hmm.
which are found in a lot of building materials.
New buildings, new cars.
Absolutely.
Right. Furnishings, that sort of thing.
Yeah, okay, so those are some of the things that can be found in the air here and that we're breathing in.
Right.
So what are some of the technologies that can help us clean the air?
Okay, well, we've got HEPA filters, which are a very common one.
Yeah, those are kind of like the basic, I think a lot of people know HEPA filters.
Right.
So how do they work?
Well, they basically work as a net.
Okay.
They capture those small particles that you see floating in the sun sometimes,
Yeah.
like dust, pollen, pet dander,
Okay.
even some mold spores.
Okay, so they're good for the bigger stuff.
Yeah, the particulate matter.
The particulate matter.
Absolute.
Okay, so HEPA filters, those are good.
Right.
Are there limitations to them, though?
There are.
What are those?
They don't do anything for gaseous pollutants like VOCs
Oh, okay.
or odors.
Right.
And they don't kill anything.
What do you mean?
I mean, like bacteria, viruses, mold spores.
Okay.
They just trap them.
Oh, so that's why it's really important to change your filter.
Exactly.
Okay.
Otherwise, those trapped pollutants can multiply and make your air worse.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay, HEPA filters, good for some things,
Right.
not as good for other things.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some other technologies that we could be using?
Okay, well, UVC light is another one.
Okay.
This one is actually kind of cool.
What is it?
It's like a little zapper.
Okay.
It uses a short wavelength UV light
Okay.
to actually kill bacteria and viruses and mold spores
Oh, wow.
in the air.
Okay. But does that work for everything?
Well, it's not meant for particulate matter.
Okay.
It's really only good for killing those things.
Okay.
So it wouldn't do anything for dust or pollen.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't do anything for gaseous pollutants.
Right.
So again, it's, the right tool for the job.
Right.
And, with UVC light, you also have to make sure that, you have proper exposure time.
I see.
The intensity needs to be a certain level. So it's important to have a well-designed system.
Okay.
And also, of course, you have to make sure that there's no direct exposure to UVC light for people.
Oh, right.
That can be very dangerous.
Okay.
So those are things to keep in mind with UVC light.
So what's another technology we could be using then?
Okay, well, ionic oxidation is another one.
Okay.
This one is interesting because it releases charged ions to neutralize pollutants.
Okay.
So you can kind of think of it like releasing these little air purifiers into the air.
Oh.
And they go and attach to the pollutants.
Okay.
And neutralize them.
Gotcha.
Now, the good thing about ionic oxidation is it can handle particulate matter, mold spores, bacteria, viruses.
Wow.
And even some VOCs and odors.
So it's more well-rounded
Yeah, you could say so.
than some of the other options.
But, the thing to keep in mind with ionic oxidation is that some poorly designed systems can produce ozone.
Right.
And you definitely do not want to breathe that in.
Oh, yeah.
So again, it's important to choose a well-designed system. Certified?
Yes, certified
Safe.
and reputable source.
Yeah, right.
It's very important with ionic oxidation.
Okay, so I've got HEP filters. We've got UVC.
Yeah.
We've got ionic oxidation.
Mm-hmm.
All of them with certain, things that they're good for.
Right.
And things that they maybe aren't so good for.
Yeah.
Is there another technology that we haven't talked about?
Well, there's one more that's kind of the heavy hitter of air purification.
Okay, what is it?
Cold plasma,
Oh, okay.
or bipolar ionization, as it's sometimes called.
And that's heavy hitter, meaning it's like the best.
Yeah, it's very effective.
Okay.
It actually pulls pollutants out of the air.
Okay.
So it doesn't just neutralize them.
Right.
It actually gets them out of the air that you're breathing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How does it do that?
So it releases both positively and negatively charged ions.
Okay.
And those ions attach to the pollutants.
Right.
And when they attach to them, it causes them to clump together.
So then they get heavier and they fall out of the air.
I
Or
saw.
they get trapped in your air filter.
Okay.
And so they're no longer in the air that you're breathing.
Gotcha.
And it's really good at getting rid of VOCs, bacteria, viruses, mold spores.
Wow.
And it can even neutralize mold mycotoxins.
Oh, okay.
Which is another thing that can be a problem in the UAE.
So what are mold mycotoxins?
So basically when mold grows,
Right.
it can release these toxins into the air
Okay.
called mycotoxins.
Right.
And those can be really harmful to breathe in.
Gotcha.
And the thing with mold mycotoxins is they're resistant to a lot of the traditional filtration methods.
Really?
Like even HEPA filters can't really get rid of them.
Wow.
So that's where cold plasma comes in.
Yeah.
Because it can actually break down those mycotoxins.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's a really good solution if you have mold issues.
Right.
But of course, again, it's important to choose a certified safe system.
Right. We keep saying that.
Because some systems can produce harmful byproducts.
Right.
Like ozone.
Okay.
So, always choose a reputable source. Make sure it's been properly tested and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Do your research.
Exactly.
Okay. So those are some of the technologies. We've got HEPA filters, UVC, ionic oxidation, cold plasma.
Yep.
That's a lot of different choices. How do we even choose which one is right for us?
Well, it can be a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
But, it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
It's really about understanding your individual needs
Okay.
and your priorities.
Okay.
And here in the UAE, we do have some specific considerations to keep in mind.
Right.
Like the size of your space.
Yeah.
You need a system that's powerful enough to clean the air in your whole space.
Right.
So if you have a large living room, a small air purifier is not going to do the job.
Gotcha.
You also need to think about the specific pollutants that you're concerned about.
Okay.
Do you have pets? Do you live near a busy road?
Yeah.
Is there construction nearby?
Right.
Do you have a history of mold issues in your home?
Right.
All those things need to be considered when you're choosing a system.
So you're basically putting together a puzzle.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
You're trying to find the right pieces
Yeah.
to fit your specific situation.
Okay.
And once you have a good understanding of your needs,
Right.
then you can start to narrow down your options and choose the best system for you.
Okay.
So it's not as complicated as it might seem at first.
It just sounds like you need to do your research.
Yeah, a little bit of research
Right.
and some, self-reflection on your own needs.
Yeah.
Just go a long way.
Okay. Okay, so we were talking about the different technologies
Right.
and how they can help us clean the air.
Yeah.
But it's also important to understand
Yeah,
why we need clean air.
absolutely.
And that brings us back to oxidative stress.
Right.
So can you remind us what oxidative stress is and how it relates to the air we breathe?
Sure. Oxidative stress is basically an imbalance in our bodies caused by an overload of free radicals.
Free radicals. Those sound kind of scary.
Yeah, they're like tiny troublemakers in our cells.
Okay.
They can damage our cells and lead to all sorts of health problems.
So where do these free radicals come from?
They come from everywhere. Pollution, UV, radiation from the sun, even the food we eat.
Wow, so we're constantly being exposed to them.
It's all right, but our bodies have natural defenses against them called antioxidants.
Antioxidants, like the things we find in fruits and vegetables.
Exactly.
It's all about balance.
It is. When we have enough antioxidants, they can neutralize the free radicals and keep things in check.
But what happens when that balance gets disrupted?
That's when we start to see the negative effects of oxidative stress.
And those negative effects can be pretty serious, right?
They can. We're talking about things like premature aging, inflammation, heart disease, even cancer.
That's a pretty scary list.
Yeah. It is, and it highlights why it's so important to protect ourselves from things that contribute to oxidative stress.
And that's where indoor air quality comes in.
Exactly. Many of the pollutants we find in indoor air, those tiny particles and gases, can actually trigger the production of free radicals in our bodies.
So by improving our indoor air quality, we're not just making our homes more comfortable, we're actually protecting ourselves from damage.
That's right. It's about creating a healthy environment both inside and outside our bodies.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now let's bring it back to the UAE. You mentioned that we have some unique challenges when it comes to indoor air quality here.
We do. The UAE's hot and humid climate is a breeding ground for mold. And those mold mycotoxins we talked about earlier can be particularly nasty.
Right, mold is definitely something I've heard people talk about here. What else is unique to the UAE?
Well, the UAE is also known for its rapid development and construction. New buildings, while modern and beautiful, can release a lot of VOCs from building material.
Oh yeah, that new car smell.
Yeah.
I've noticed that in some buildings here.
Exactly. And it's not just new buildings, it's also new furniture carpets, even some cleaning products.
So VOCs are everywhere.
Pretty much. And then we also have to contend with the ever-present sand and dust.
Ah, yes, the desert life.
Mm.
It's beautiful, but it can be a bit challenging at times.
It can. Those fine particles can easily make their way indoors no matter how hard we try to keep them out.
So it feels like we have a lot working against us here in the UAE, but luckily we've already talked about some solutions.
That's right. We have a whole arsenal of technologies at our disposal to combat these challenges.
So let's talk about some specific recommendations for tackling these UAE-specific problems. Let's start with mold. What can we do?
Managing humidity is key. A dehumidifier can be a great investment in preventing mold growth.
Okay, so keeping the humidity in check is important. And what about those mold mycotoxins? Is there anything we can do about those?
Remember we talked about cold plasma technology?
Right, the heavy hitter.
Exactly. It's especially effective at neutralizing those mycotoxins.
So cold plasma plus a dehumidifier, that's a good combo for tackling mold.
It is. Now, what about those VOCs? Those sneaky gases coming from all the new stuff.
Yeah, what can we do about those?
Ventilation is key. Open those windows whenever possible to let fresh air circulate and flush out those VOCs.
I know it's tough with the heat, but even a few minutes a day can make a difference.
Absolutely. Fresh air is your best friend.
Okay, so ventilation for VOCs.
Mm-hmm.
What about the sand and dust? Is there anything we can do to keep those tiny particles out?
HEPA filters are great for capturing those. Remember, they're like nets that trap the particles.
Right, so investing in air purifiers with HEPA filters is a good idea.
Definitely. And don't forget about regular maintenance. Make sure you're cleaning or replacing those filters regularly.
So it sounds like we have a lot of options. HEPA filters, cold plasma dehumidifiers, ventilation. It's a multi-pronged approach.
It is. And the key is to find the right combination of solutions that works for your specific needs and your specific environment.
Right, it's not one size fits all.
Exactly. It's about creating a personalized air purification strategy.
I love that. A personalized approach to clean air. Now, what about monitoring our indoor air quality? Is there a way to know if all these technologies are actually working?
Absolutely. There are all sorts of indoor air quality monitors available these days.
What do they do?
They track different pollutants like particulate matter VOCs, even carbon dioxide levels.
So it's like having a little detective in your home.
You got it. They give you real-time data on the quality of the air you're breathing.
So you can see if our air purifiers are doing their job.
Exactly. And you can also see how different activities like cooking or cleaning impact your indoor air quality.
That's so cool. It's like taking control of our indoor air destiny.
It is. And remember, we're not just talking about comfort here. Investing in our indoor air quality is an investment in our long-term health and well-being.
Especially here in the UAE, where we spend so much time indoors.
That's right. It's about creating an indoor sanctuary that promotes health, vitality, and resilience.
Well said. So as we wrap up this part of our conversation, I'm curious about what's next for indoor air quality in the UAE. What emerging trends or innovations are on the horizon?
That's a great question. One area I'm really excited about is smart home technology.
Oh, yeah. Smart homes are becoming so popular here.
They are. And imagine air purifiers that can automatically adjust their settings based on real-time data from those air quality monitors we talked about.
That would be amazing. It's like
Yeah.
having an intelligent air purification system that knows exactly what we need.
Exactly. And with the UAE's focus on innovation, I have no doubt that we'll see even more cutting-edge solutions in the future.
So the future of clean air is looking bright.
It is. And it's exciting to be a part of this movement towards healthier, more resilient indoor spaces.
So we've talked about oxidative stress and all this cool tech, but I'm also wondering
Yeah.
if there are things we can do, like just in our daily lives,
Yeah.
that can help improve our indoor air quality
Absolutely.
without, having to buy a bunch of fancy gadgets.
Right.
What are some things we can do?
Well, one of the simplest things and one of the most effective things is just ventilation.
Right,
Just opening your windows,
right,
letting that fresh air in.
right.
Even if it's just for a few minutes each day,
Yeah.
can make a huge difference.
I've noticed even like when I'm cooking, if I don't open the windows,
Yeah.
it gets like stuffy
Yeah,
and, almost like a little bit smelly.
absolutely.
So just opening those windows can make a big
It's
difference.
huge difference. Yeah.
What else can we do?
Well, another thing you can do is switch to natural cleaning products.
Okay.
A lot of those harsh chemical cleaners,
Right.
they release a lot of VOCs into the air.
Right. They have those strong fumes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So switching to natural cleaning products can make a big difference.
Okay, so natural cleaning products.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, houseplants are great.
Yeah.
They're not just pretty to look at.
Right.
They actually help purify the air.
Yeah.
They absorb certain pollutants. They
Yeah.
release oxygen. So they're like little natural air purifiers.
Yeah, my mom used to always have a ton of plants in the house.
Yeah.
I never understood why, but
Yeah.
I guess that's why.
Yeah, they're great for air purification.
Okay, so houseplants are good.
Mm-hmm.
What about like just general cleanliness?
Yeah, that's important too.
Like what?
Dusting regularly, vacuuming with a HEPA filter vacuum cleaner.
Oh, yeah. So that actually helps.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Those things all contribute to keeping the air clean.
Okay, so we've got natural cleaning products,
Right.
houseplants, dusting, vacuuming.
Yep.
What else?
And this one might seem obvious,
Yeah.
but avoid smoking indoors.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest contributors to indoor air pollution.
Yeah, and it's not just for the smoker.
Right.
It's for anyone who's breathing in that secondhand smoke.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of really good tips for improving our indoor air quality.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest takeaway for me
Mm-hmm.
is that we actually have a lot of control over the air we breathe.
Absolutely.
We're not just victims of our environment.
Right.
We can actually take steps to make it better.
Exactly.
And I think that's really empowering.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into indoor air quality,
Yeah.
I'm just feeling so grateful for all the knowledge that you've shared with us.
It's been my pleasure.
And I'm also just feeling really inspired to take action,
That's great.
to make my home a healthier place for myself and for my family.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I hope our listeners are feeling the same way.
I hope so too.
This is something that we can all do.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be complicated or expensive.
Right.
We can all take small steps to improve the air we breathe.
Absolutely.
And in doing so, we're not just improving our indoor environment.
Yeah.
We're actually improving our health and our well-being.
Exactly.
So let's all commit to making our homes havens of clean air.
Absolutely.
And let's all breathe a little easier.
Yes.
And that's Indoor Matters for you. We will see you again next time, where we visit and talk about some of the technologies we talked about today. We hope you liked this episode. And from all of us here in Indoor Matters, we want to wish you all a happy and healthy holiday season.